Thank you, everybody. I'd like to call to order the Thursday, January 20th, 2022 Watertown Board of Adjustment. Can I get a roll call?
Yes. Dolly?
Here.
Ford?
Here.
Kays?
Here.
Brink?
Here.
Douglas Johnson?
Here.
And Hanson, Spire, Dolly, and Ford, and, nope, sorry, Ford is here. Dolly and
Dolly's here.
Culhane are, oh my gosh, I am sorry. Okay,
Maybe
so
take it from the top.
Hanson, Spire, Culhane, and we're missing, and Oletsky are absent. We have a quorum. Sorry, we had the name tags off, and I was just
I
reading.
was thinking about Jamaica or something.
Wasn't even where I was.
And I apologize. I don't have a printed copy, and my computer just froze. Just bear with me a second.
Oh, and here,
Okay.
I can pull it
There-
up if you
there's
can
back.
see.
Oh, and you're going to share it on the screen. Perfect. Thank you, Brandy.
Yep.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the January 6th, 2022 meeting. I'll need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Case. Second by Brink. Any additional discussion on those minutes? Hearing none, we'll take a vote.
All right, Douglas Johnson,
Yes.
Brink,
Yes.
Kays,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on to the regular agenda, we have item 4A on the agenda, which is board consideration of a variance request to the zoning ordinance requirements related to a proposed improvements on the property located at 814 North Lake Drive. Brandy?
Yes, thank you, Blake. So this application is for a variance for the overall height of a proposed detached garage on the property at 814 North Lake Drive. The owners are Matt and Amy Drecky, and they are seeking a variance to have their detached garage be 24 feet and 4 inches to the peak. And in the R1 single-family residential district, we allow for a 20-foot maximum height for detached structures, or accessory structures more so. And they are unsure of where it will be placed on the property, but all other setbacks would be met at the time of building permit application. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Thank you, Brandy. I believe we have a open public comment period for this one, so I'd like to open the public comment. If anybody's here to speak on behalf or against.
Brandy, this is Todd. So notices were mailed to adjoining property owners. Were there any comments?
None that I received.
And they're asking for a 4.5-foot variance.
Yep.
And the question about
Well,
bedrooms and bathrooms and kitchens, how does that work in detached accessory buildings?
So and actually, just for clarity, it's 4 feet 4 inches, but so they can have a separate bathroom in detached structures or accessory structures. Sorry, I keep calling them that. But you cannot have additional living quarters like an accessory dwelling unit or mother-in-law suite, any of that. So when they submit for a building permit, their plans have to, show that it would not be turned into an accessory dwelling unit.
If the structure was attached to the dwelling, then they could have that in upstairs.
Yep.
It appears there's going to be a bathroom up and down.
Yes, that is correct. According to the plans on the main floor and the second floor, it does show a bathroom, but there would be no kitchen. And I believe the applicants do know, and we would reinforce that again at the time of permit, that this would not be allowed for residential occupancy.
Well, it's, to me, if you're going to put a bathroom upstairs and downstairs, that would appear that that's what it's going to be used for. So, did they state why they needed the hardship to have this and why 20 foot isn't enough?
I believe it was for the loft. structure. And then just probably the overall width and how they were able to get enough height in that second story.
Height of adjoining structures, are they complying?
Well, of the adjacent landowners,
Yeah, in the neighborhood and adjoining. I mean, we haven't had a history of granting previous exceptions to this rule that you're aware of?
No, we did have the requirement that was modified here within the last year about allowing a detached structure or an accessory structure to have the same pitch as the house. If you had a steep pitch, then we would allow for that. However, that was taken out when these revisions were done, and I believe that they have a standard pitch on their roof.
yep. And at that time too, so we increased the overall height from ground to peak from 18 feet to 20 feet. And then the sidewall height went from 10 foot 2 inches to 12 feet.
The sidewall heights are fine on this structure?
Yeah, they're proposing 9.
Are there other structures at the lake that have lofted areas where they maybe have a bathroom, or we've issued, and that they can make it work under 20 feet under the old rules, where at 18 they can make it work too?
I'm not sure if Jason's on. He may have some insight into that.
This is Jason Spurgeon, building official. Not to my knowledge, but here again, I've only been here for so I don't have a long-standing knowledge of all of the accessory structures at the lake or around town.
Right, thank you.
So the applicant doesn't know for sure where they're gonna put the building. If they put the building within 10 feet of their existing structure, wouldn't it then be considered attached and then be permittable?
No,
No? Isn't there if it's within so many feet, it's considered attached?
well, only for the setbacks. So if it's
Okay.
within, but it's not like considered part of the primary structure, it's just, it has to adhere to those setbacks then.
Okay, so if it were part of the existing structure, like if they made it attached, then they could go as this tall?
Yeah,
But it has to be physically attached?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they could go up to 35 feet.
Yeah, it
And-
does appear that a couple houses down from this applicant, there is an attached garage that appears to have a loft in the aerial view you can see there. But the difference there being it is an attached structure, right?
Yep,
I think the one just left of that gray house appears to have a
yep.
loft above it. There's a window there.
This is Ford. What's the size of this lot?
Let me get that. And for the record, Hanson has joined us. It is 13,681 square feet. So in this district, the
But
minimum is 9,000.
I meant length and width. I'm sorry, Brandy.
Oh, okay. 60 by 233.
So it's 60 feet wide, and they want to put up something that's 4 feet plus higher than the 20 feet. I guess I'm wondering about the proportion of that on this lot. And I also agree with Rhonda's comment about the bathroom, the full bathroom on the second floor is curious. I agree that that's a curious situation.
Side yard setbacks on that is 7 feet?
Yep. Yeah, because, well, it's 60, so it's 6, because
6 feet.
the minimum is 6 feet. If it would be like a 55-foot lot, it would still have to be 6.
I guess if the garage, it is a garage, that's what they're asking, I mean, obviously building here. If they were asking for the 4 foot to accommodate a camper, we allowed that in town, which I still don't like that one either. I think you get the height out, in residential, once you just go over that height, pretty soon, like I said, there's the one in town here that, to me, just doesn't work. And we all know what's gonna happen on the second floors. It's gonna be living, or you wouldn't have plumbing up there. I mean, it's bad enough on the main floor, but now we have 2 baths in a garage. That just, to me, is self-explanatory, so.
Right, and that's something that we want to avoid or try to keep consistent.
Right, and so the height is, the only reason they need the height is for the accommodations to live up there. It's not, the garage door is not height, it is not, they're not asking for the 4-foot variance for a camper to fit through the door. They are asking it for living space, so I will be voting no.
Could this shape building be remodeled to be a 1-story building and then be compliant? I mean, right now it looks like the main level is 28 by 28, and then the top floor is 28 by 14. I mean, if they made this, added 14 to one side and made it 28 by 42, would that be compliant? And
They would have options.
so then they could build essentially the exact same amount of area, but they could build it compliantly.
Yes, I think that there appears to be options. I'm not sure, is the applicant online at all for this one? I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah, so they could build a 48-foot, 48 feet wide detached structure, and then you could get, just that greater width would give you a little more height.
Get you more height less height from the.
Yeah, they could get square footage. And as far as the provision about having the sewer in there, that is something separate that staff could, consider. So
I guess my perspective is whether or not they have an upstairs bathroom or a downstairs bathroom doesn't really matter when it comes from this. It's more or less whether or not you want to allow a taller structure. That's what they're asking for. And there's nothing saying that whether they put a bathroom in there now or to do it 5 years from now and no one's any the wiser. I mean, we're not going to know that until some sort of occupancy would ever be done on that. So I think we just need to be focusing on whether or not the height of the structure is too tall or not.
yes.
And so as was mentioned, we had recently made some changes to that ordinance, right? So we had raised it from the 18 it previously was to 20, and now the request is to go beyond the 20 that we've just established to 24 and 4 inches.
Yes.
And what year did we do the 18 to 20?
I believe that was just in 2020.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So we increased that because we understood the need more so for additional or for greater sidewalls so that people could have larger garage doors to store their
Right.
equipment. So, and we felt 20 was appropriate at that time, so.
Well, I'm a firm believer that as opposed to variancing something that we just changed, I would rather see this come back as an ordinance amendment and a discussion on that to be carte blanche throughout the entire area as opposed on a one-off here and there. So that would be my reasoning for denial if we'd go down that road.
You guys ready for, to take a vote?
I just reiterate, we've got the public hearing open right now. Last chance if there's somebody to speak on behalf or against before I close the public hearing. All right, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Any additional discussion from the board? We'll need a motion to proceed.
I make a motion to approve K's.
Motion to approve by Kays. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second. Any additional discussion from the board?
I just think as the maker of the motion, making the motion to move to for discussionary purposes. Again, I think there are options to get a taller, taller building, 20 feet, and make everything fit with a different configuration on the lot. I think also being that we went through the process in the last 2 years to increase the height requirements, we had a fully vetted process in that area there. That would probably, if we need to go taller, let's do it by an ordinance and not through a variance action.
Yeah, I agree, Todd. And in addition, there's other options that this applicant appears to have with this lot and the configuration of the primary structure as well. So if they really do want to have a two-story structure, adding on to the existing principal structure gives them that option according to ordinance to do it within a permitted use. Any additional discussion from the board? All right, we'll take a roll call vote.
All right. Dolly,
No?
Ford,
No.
Kays,
No.
Brink,
No.
Jargus Johnson,
No.
Hanson.
No.
That motion fails and the variance is denied. Moving on then to item 5, which is open public comments. If there's anybody here to speak to the board on an item that wasn't on the agenda today. Anybody online or anybody in the room?
Nobody's in the room. And
All right, then we'll move on to item 6, which is new business, and we do have an agenda item there, 6A, which is Harm's extension request at 1306 13th Street Northeast.
Yes, thank you, Blake. And I'm actually going to turn this one over to Stacy Bungard.
All right, thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you may recall back in September 9th, actually, of 2021, the Harmses did come before the board and they requested variances for a pool deck and also a shed, setback variances for both structures. Both of these were denied, again, on September 9th, 2021, and the board, within their motion, did allow the applicants a period of 60 days to relocate the shed and the pool deck to be compliant. We did have some correspondence with the Harmses, and they would like to ask for an extension of the 60 days. So I believe that they were going to join us online. So if they have further comments on that, they would be welcomed.
This is Brian Harms. The reason why we're asking for an extension, we can't find a contractor right now that has time to do the work.
Mr. Harms, Mr. Case here. Have you talked to any contractors that can get the work done in the next 6 months?
Yes, I have. To get the stuff to work, I have to pull the whole shed out, and we had to order a new shed, which has to be shorter. That's the only way it'll work for us. And so to do that, they don't have the material. It won't be done until probably about June or July is when the shed will be made and ready to ship.
Thank you.
The other portion of this was the deck structure as well, correct? So we had to remove the deck or relocate the deck as well as the shed?
That's correct.
Mr. Harms, what's the time frame that you can get done for the
We're
deck
not
structure?
going to, we're going to change that into playground equipment, so that will no longer be a deck. We're just using that as a rock climbing wall for the kids and a slide, so that will be changed. That will be done probably in, I'd say, the first part of the spring of the year to have a contractor to do the work for that.
Okay, and you've got some confirmation from contractors that they could do it within that time frame?
No one will commit at this time because everyone says they're too busy, but we're still trying to find someone to do it.
Stacy, do you know how long other requests like this we've given for time? Is it usually 60 days pretty standard, or do we go 6 months? Is there any other examples that we can compare this to?
We do try to work with the applicant as long as they're making progress on a property. In this particular case, we did send out a correspondence letter asking them to remove it within the 60 days. I think just after the 60 days was up, and that would be up to the board if you feel that there is a need to allow for time to get a contractor. It wouldn't be unusual, I would say, to offer them to in the springtime or summer. So it wouldn't be inclement weather.
We had this decision on September what?
September 9th.
And so 60 days hence would have put us into December. So it's not 60 days, we're sitting in that 90-day window right now.
Yes. Yes, we are.
And it's quite obvious that between now and the next 90 days, there's, God willing, there's not going to be snow, but there will be snow here. That would get us 6 months in from the additional date of September 9th, October, November, December, January, February, March 9th. I would say April 1st, something should happen, whether, and I guess the question would be is, did the applicant reach out to us prior to the 60-day window coming up, or did the city have to initiate that action?
I believe the city initiated that action.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Harms, did you confirm you have an order in for a shed? You've committed to a purchase of a new shed?
Yes, we talked to the shed company that we got the first one from, and that they are giving us how much it's going to cost because the prices are fluctuating all over the place. So there has not been a confirmation yet because they said they can't give out quotes until it's close to being built.
So, Brandy, could you, I don't have that in front of me. So again, our directive was
because of all the COVID stuff that's happening right now and the supply chains and, you know, stuff that's coming in, we're having an issue with get material. And I don't know if you guys are aware of any of this or have to deal with any of this stuff, but I mean, sometimes those boats are, their lead times are 16 to 18 weeks on some things.
Okay, Hanson, go ahead and finish your.
Again, our direction was to have that current shed removed. Our directive wasn't to reconstruct or replace it. It was to have it removed from the property.
Just move to meet the setback. And I believe there's a utility line there that would be preventing that, but I'll let Mr. Harms speak more to that.
So I guess I want to be flexible, but at this point, I'm sure you have stuff stored in that thing, but there's plenty of storage facilities around town. I mean, I guess I'm having a little bit of a heartburn with the idea that we're waiting for a new shed, and that really isn't the issue.
Well, it's also because of the weather, you know, they gotta get underneath that and pull it up and move it out with the snow and stuff that's going on. I mean, it's really hard to get that done.
Well, you had September and October to do that. Better half of November before the frost was in the ground. I guess my question, and my recollection,
we couldn't get a contractor because everyone was trying to finish up their jobs before snowfall.
I can't remember. Refresh my memory, Brandy. The reason was a building permit ever issued for that shed? I can't. That was part of the, or it had been issued, but they just did not build in accordance with the building permit.
Right.
Okay.
We asked for a building permit when we did. Because we did have a building permit, but they told us that we didn't need it for the shed. It was never put on because they said it was being moved in. So we did it right, but we asked for a building permit, which we did get one, and that was for the windows and the siding that we had put on the house. They said that we didn't need a building permit to move the shed onto the property that we got. We moved the shed onto the property because that's when we were gonna have the siding to match the house.
Were you replacing this shed when you moved it on? Did you replace it with a smaller shed perhaps, and you moved this one on?
There was a smaller shed there originally, yes, and that's what we told them. We were moving that one out and moving a new one in, because that one was on its last legs.
And I believe if I recall correctly, then there could have been a miscommunication about the size of the shed, and you did get a building permit, but the setbacks were not met for, maybe there was a miscommunication. I guess I can't speak to that because the staff that would have issued that is no longer with us, so, or employed here, so.
And so how that whole permit happened, they received a permit in 2019 when that shed was placed, but the permit itself only specified that it was for windows and siding. And so then they said that there was miscommunication with if they needed a permit for the shed and.
Well, I don't really want to relitigate all that. Our decision was made. The decision was made to have the shed removed and whatever with the swimming pool taken care of within 60 days. They haven't complied with the order of this board. I feel that it is somewhat difficult to get anything done right now, but I would say come the 15th of April, the frost should be out of the ground and the building should be removed. And then they can deal with getting their new building permit for a new shed at that point in time. It has nothing, one doesn't have anything to do with the other.
Yeah.
That would be my motion, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Todd. And in general, I think in the past we have been a little bit flexible in terms of, over the winter months, allowing applicants to wait to act until spring. But generally, we've said as soon as that frost does come out of the ground that we need action made.
And I would second Todd's motion.
Any additional discussion from the board before we take a vote on that motion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote.
All right, Hanson,
Yes.
Jargis Johnson,
Yes.
Brink,
Yes.
Kays,
Yes.
Ford,
No.
Dolly.
Yes. So that motion passes.
Yep.
Yes, motion passes.
Moving on to item 7 then is old business. Do we have any old business today?
None that I have. Nope.
Item 8 on the agenda is motion to adjourn, so I'll go ahead and adjourn us, and we'll reconvene here momentarily as the Plan Commission.